The Lord be with you. This is a reading of the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Zebedee's sons, James and John, approached Jesus. "Teacher," they said, "we want you to grant our request." Jesus asked, "What is it?" They replied, "See to it that we sit, one at your right and the other at your left, when you come into your glory." Jesus told them, "You do not know what you are asking. Can you drink the cup I shall drink? Can you be baptized in the same bath of pain as I?" And they told him, "We can." And he said in response, "From the cup I drink of, you shall drink. The bath I am immersed in, you shall share. But as for sitting at my right or my left, that is not mine to give. It is for those to whom it has been reserved." The other 10 of the 12, upon witnessing this conversation, became indignant at James and John. So Jesus called all 12 together and said to them, "You know how among the Gentiles, those who seem to exercise authority lord it over everybody else. Their great ones make their importance felt. It cannot be that way with you. Anyone among you who aspires to greatness must serve the needs of the rest. Whoever wants to rank first among you must serve the needs of all. The Son of Man has not come to be served, but to serve, to give his life in ransom for the many." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We have a great high priest. We do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weakness, but one who was tempted in every way that we are tempted, yet never sinned. This is one of my favorites, among many favorites, of the New Testament that I read. And as much as I favor this passage, there is a part that I have always stumbled on, and that part is that Jesus was tempted in every way that we are tempted. Okay? Now, I have no problem with the part that he never sinned. But when I look at my temptations, not yours. This sermon is about me, by the way, okay? It's not about you. It's not about your temptations at all, okay? But when I look at my temptations, they are so trivial, they are laughable. They are not intelligent. They are not that bright. My temptations seem foolish. And I can't imagine that with Jesus. Amen? Can you do that? I mean, okay, how many can imagine Jesus having every one of your temptations? I can't do it. I can't. I mean, I've tried, and I go, no, that doesn't seem right. Well, and it is because, I mean, when you look at the Gospels, okay, when you look at the Gospels and the most obvious moments of Jesus being tempted, okay? It starts out with the 40 days in the desert, right? 40 days in a desert without food or water. Have you ever done that? No. Oh, we've never done that. Okay. And then you can actually, go to the agony in the garden. Okay? And he sweated blood in the agony in the garden. Okay? Have you ever done that? No. Okay. And in that night of the agony in the garden, he had one of the 12 betray him, another of the 12 deny him 3 times, 9 of the 12 abandon him. Only one of the 12 was faithful. Has that ever happened to you? I mean, that's huge. It's a huge temptation. And then he was crowned with thorns. He was scourged at the pillar. He was crucified. And from the cross, he prayed, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Okay? If you were being crucified, would you say that about your crucifiers? No. No. May they burn in hell or something. Yeah, that would be more like it. Yeah, Jack shook his head yes on that. So Jesus' temptations are just so huge, so huge. And then we have this gospel today. Okay? And so I'm looking literally at the gospel in light of the epistle. Okay? Is this great high priest who is tempted in every way that we are, yet never sinned. Okay? Bring that to this story. The story about Jesus being approached by James and John, 2 of the 12, and they want the top 2 places in his kingdom. Number 1 on the right, number 2 on the left. They thought they were conceding. We'll take either one. But we want them both. Amen? They want them both. Of all the 12, they want them both. Okay? And then what happened how did the other 10 react to that? Indignant. Okay? Now that's a nice word for some other words that you don't use in church. Okay? But you can use indignant. They were really royally, okay? Because they got there first. That's what they were indignant about, is that they got there first. Now, what's more telling about this story is in the Gospel of Mark, this happens right after his 3rd prophecy of his passion, his death, and his resurrection. Right after. Right after. And if you look at all 3 prophecies in all 3 Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, that's the very things that happened right after the prophecies of all of that passion, death, and resurrection. It's like the 12 would go into denial. They would go into avoidance. That prophecy they did not want to face at all. And so what happens when you go into avoidance and denial? You do something stupid. Amen? I know you never go into avoidance or deny. I know that that's not part of your makeup. It's a part of mine, but that doesn't mean it's yours. That's what they did. It's kind of like it's an all about me moment. Have you ever had those? How many have ever had an all about me moment? Okay, good. Thank you. I'm not the only one in the room. Thank you. That's where our temptations get really silly, is when it's an all about me moment. So, but somehow, some way, Jesus could take these moments in which his apostles were misbehaving to him and to each other and use that as a teaching moment. Okay? So he didn't just chastise them for being foolish. He took that moment to say, you know how these Gentiles behave when they have power? When they think they've got power? You know, we're coming up on election year, so we're Gentiles, right? Okay, so we can watch and listen and go, that's really okay. So Jesus was pointing that out, and he says, it can't be that way with you. If you aspire to greatness, it's not about winning a caucus, a debate, a preliminary, or an election. It's about serving. It's about serving the rest. And if you really want to be great, you serve the needs of all. For I came not to be served, but to serve. Okay? That's what the passion and death and resurrection is about. It's about the sacrificial service of Jesus for all humankind. Believers and unbelievers alike. Okay? That's what we're called to do. I want to say a few words about the rest of that passage, about approaching the throne. It says here that we approach the throne confidently. Let us confidently approach the throne of grace to receive mercy and favor and to find help in time of need. Now, growing up Catholic in the 50s, which very few of you in this room did, amen, because you're just way too young. Okay, we heard about a throne, the throne of Jesus, but it wasn't a throne of grace. It was a throne of judgment. When we die, we approach the throne of judgment. And we don't approach with confidence. We approach with total, complete terror and trepidation. We are scared silly. Because the most we can hope for is purgatory. Amen? You remember that? Oh, Jack remembers it, yeah. The most we could hope for was purgatory. You know, let me burn for a while, but eventually I'll get there. Okay. The worst, obviously, was hell. You know, but you're still afraid of that because you forgot it was Friday and you ate meat or something like that. And that's true. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. No, I'm not. You know, it's... So that literally is why this is one of my favorites. Is because there's a whole different visual of the throne. The throne is a throne of power. Yes, Jesus Christ sits on a throne, presiding over all that is for all time and all eternity. Yes, indeed, that throne is all powerful. Okay? But it's a throne of grace. It's a throne of grace. And our confidence in approaching the throne of grace is not confidence in me at all. It is not confidence in myself. It's not confidence in my good deeds. It's not confidence in my virtue or my sacrifice. It's confidence in Him. That's where all of our confidence lies. It's confidence in Jesus. He's the one that has all the mercy. He's the one that has all the favor. He's the one that has all the help in all of our times of need. He's the one. And He tells us, what's that passage? Ask and you shall receive, and seek and you shall find, and knock and the door will be open. Those are not suggestions. Those are mandates. Those are commands. We are commanded to approach the throne of grace for the mercy and the favor and the help we need, which is daily. Amen? Every day of our lives, we need to approach the throne of grace. And we need to approach with confidence. Confidence in Him, not confidence in me. As I said to the folks of Sacred Heart a little bit ago, those of you who are parents and those of you who are grandparents, please pass on that visual of the throne. Pass on that visual.